we need to talk. Something is happening in the Otome world, which is gigantic and has the potential to change the whole industry. Some years ago, there were voices who were afraid that the Otome genre might die, or that mobile gacha games will take over the market. Those fears were caused by the decline in sales in Japan and lacking English localization until almost 2020. But since 2020, something has changed. Not only are the sales rising again in Japan, but we also saw a massive increase of English localizations and Chinese localizations. A few years ago, English fans were lucky if they get like one Otome game a year, and now Idea Factory localizes 2 games a year and Axis 4. With Vish being the first one to sell out in the first week. And in the stream, Axis admitted that it's been good Otome years, that 2023 was their best year so far, and they're looking forward to what is to come in 2024. Otome as well shared in an interview that they are happy to see the increasing interest in Otome games, and are eager to promote Otome all over the world. So what will the future hold for Otome games? I'm also optimistic. We're in a huge Otome boom right now. I don't know how long it will prevail, but at least for the next few, maybe 5 years, I see a bright future for Otome fans. I've already talked about the history of Otome games in another video, so now I just want to look at the recent years and the future. Before, I'd say 2022, there wasn't a lot going on in Otome land. A few localizations here and there, as well as the declining sales in Japan. The first localizations seem to have been more plot-driven games, like Café Enchanté, Color X Malice and Code Realize, to kind of test the water if there is a market for romantic games. Meanwhile, also the mobile market developed. And with the Ikemen series, and especially Mystic Messenger, introduced a lot of new fans into the genre. That's what I call the first Otome wave. Then it's 2020. Pure Fjorde releases, and a year later, Busterfellows. And judging by the number of views and searches, I think Busterfellows did something right in their marketing and brought huge attention to the genre. That's what I call the second Otome wave after Mystic Messenger 2016. And the genre has been on the rise ever since. Every year the number of localization rises, with whopping 9 localizations waiting for us in 2024. Otome in Japan sells more copies than in the previous years. And the users of the Otome subreddit doubled within 2 years. And this year a new player, which might have been overlooked in the West, entered the market. And this player is China. Or rather, Chinese mobile games. Also in China, there was a massive increase of localizations of originally Japanese Otome games. And at the same time, the national market produced immensely stunning, high-quality mobile Otome games. As China is one of the countries where mobile games are the most prevalent, it was only a matter of time until also Otome mobile games take their share of the market, and a matter of a bit more time until they reach the West, Japan and Korea. The most famous examples would be Tears of Themis, Love Brush Chronicles, or very recently, Love and Deepspace. Those games stand out with their immensely high quality, full voice acting, though it is on a free-to-play basis, despite them being actually comparable to full-price console games. Especially Love and Deepspace set a new benchmark when it comes to mobile Otome games. Not only do we get presented an immersive sci-fi story, with a tragic twist and loads of secrets told in a fast pace, the unique selling point of the game is the immersive first-person perspective. Outside of the main story, you can enjoy your time with the 3 dateable characters, with fun mini-games, extra episodes, all by touching them in various places in various situations. And this fictional boyfriend isn't even 2D anymore, no, he made the leap to 3D graphics, blurring the lines between fiction and reality, always being there for you whenever you need him. And it's exactly that immersiveness that might be at the turning point for at least the Otome mobile market, if not for the whole Otome market. I feel especially when playing a mobile game, one might not care that much about a long and wordy story, but rather see Otome games as a way to relax and rewind. Have some fun with beautiful fictional men. And who can blame us? And Love and Deepspace delivers exactly that. While I am immensely interested in the immersive sci-fi story, many players just love the Steam interactions and the fact that you can talk to and cuddle your fictional boyfriend whenever you want to. This is also one of the few games that manage to implement gameplay fighting mechanics that not only speak to lazy visual novel players like me who can only press one button, but also players who enjoy action gameplay and a little challenge once in a while. Hence, for all the right reasons, Love and Deepspace was downloaded 10 million times in the first week. Fascinating veterans of the genre, and at the same time being a gateway game for new fans, and thus marking a turning point for the Otome market. And all those developments, rising sales in the Japanese market, growing numbers of localizations, and the worldwide success of mobile Otome games, which serve as the perfect entryway into the genre. All those developments accelerate the growth of Otome games now. And where there's growth, there will be others. There will be competitors. There will be new companies entering the market. The first of them was Voltage, who used to stick to their typical mobile game formula with a bit of bland and simple storytelling, and only used to port their mobile games to the Switch. But after they had developed their first full-fledged, fully voiced Otome game exclusively for the Nintendo Switch, Even if Tempest, which was widely successful, so much that they even made a part 2 in the FD, they now decided to bring us at least 3 more high-quality, fully voiced Otome games exclusively to the Nintendo Switch. There are also new companies founded, like Likobits, a corporation of Broccoli and veteran artists and directors from Automate, or other companies who are trying to publish more Otome games now, like Red or Mintlib. Mintlib is, as far as I know, the second company transforming a drama CD series into an Otome game, like Diabolic Lovers. They are now making an Otome game for Hana Amukadeto and Bloom. And we're also starting to see more other multimedia projects, like the Otome game to the famous anime Hamafuda, or to another villainous isekai light novel. And Red, together with D3 this time, developed a game Desperate Drops, which is a bit similar to Best of Fellows, where the heroine is a suspect in a murder case, but manages to escape together with 6 other criminals being hunted for her Esper abilities. And this totally new game was immediately picked up by Access for localization, alongside the 2 FDs for Vish and Radiant Tail by good old Automate. But you can clearly see how new players are entering the market and are immediately recognized for localization, bringing those games which are not published by Automate to the West as well. And not to forget the rather surprising localizations of Hana Awase and Hakuoki by companies that usually don't focus on Otome games. And in my impression, maybe this competition even leads to a higher production quality of the recent releases. Of course, localization companies can just cherry-pick the best-selling games, but also the upcoming releases in Japan seem to have a focus on beautiful art, be it design of the CGs or voice acting, which is initially what makes a game sell. And while the technical side of visual novels seem to have come to a standstill for 20 years, always following the same formula of standing sprites, advancing the text by pressing a button, sometimes mouth movements, or a blink. There also seems to be a new upcoming trend. Not only does the new mobile Otome game Love and Deepspace set new standards when it comes to immersive and realistic storytelling, but the new company Likobits also tries to make the characters appear more realistic, implementing more animations into the conversation. So I really hope that other companies also pick up on this trend, improving on the animation quality in our visual novels, so that we see improvements on the technical side, as well as design side, and of course in the sheer quantity of Otome games again. Secondly, we are witnessing the success of Otome games implementing gameplay elements. Otome games with gameplay elements always have been the highest selling games since the beginning of the genre, and with the release of Tokimeki Memorial Girls Side 4 and Jack-Jan, that was proven once again. Well, even if Tempest can't be called such a hit in comparison, players still appreciate the trial gameplay, which is like Danganronpa werewolf style. Thus I would expect the new Voltage games to also implement some kind of gameplay. And one of the upcoming Automate games also includes gameplay. But as far as I can tell from the trailer, those seem reminiscent of a game like Hanayaki Nari wa Gaichizoku, where you run around in the estate and talk to people or do mini-quests, but those are likely non-compulsory. So my guess would be that Automate will stick to its pure visual novel formula, which I personally appreciate, but other developers might explore more and different gameplay elements. And each new gameplay feature has the chance of speaking to a new player base, and thus also helping the genre grow in the long run. I also wonder if Otome games will become more like interactive movies, just like Love and Deepspace, as the hardware is obviously capable even on handheld. And it probably boils down to a matter of budget and thus length of the stories told. I definitely hope to see more variety here as well. Some interactive movie Otome games and some standard visual novel Otome games. Both have their unique features and benefits. Or will some Otome games focus more on the interactive and immersive, real relationship with your fictional husbando? Can there be Otome games that don't focus on telling a pre-written story, but that focus on your experience with the guy? Be it mini-games or steamy interactions. Will there be Otome games without a real story, but mainly episodic interactions for the fun of gameplay and for the sake of steamy episodes and quickly enjoying sweet moments? I think mobile games like Love and Deepspace prove there is a market for that. There is a market for a more laid-back Otome experience and the one that focuses more on steamy gameplay than the actual story. So I'm optimistic that especially the design and animation quality will keep improving from here. That developers will be more courageous with implementing gameplay elements, which was so successful with Even If Tempest, Tokimeki Memorial and Jack-Jan, and of course in the vastly successful mobile games. This also means that the market will become more diverse, with more companies trying out different styles and not only Otome domineering the market with its standard visual novel formula. I mean, I like it personally, but variety is always good and has the potential to speak to a broader audience. Which makes me wonder what the future of Otome games will look like. I'm sure that all markets, be it on console, PC or mobile, can coexist and even help each other grow. Whatever will come, I'm so ready for the new Otome games and new ideas developers will come up with to shake up this old genre and lead it into the future. What are your hopes and expectations when it comes to the future of Otome games? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks to my patrons and every one of you for also accompanying me in the future of Otome games. And to get a real feel of what I mean by future of Otome games, watch my review of Love and Deepspace to see what the future of Otome games looks like.